Before we get into today's video, I want to talk about content that's coming up on Wednesday and Friday. So that's content that I recorded a couple weeks ago, so I don't know stuff that I'm going to say in it, maybe a little bit out of date. It was supposed to go up last week, but after Soul had died, I didn't feel like uploading videos and really doing anything with that. When I did return doing videos on Friday, I wanted to do a video to honor her. So we didn't put up the normal content, basically. So that content's going out a week later. So if anything's a little out of date in that, I do apologize for that. But we'll be back to brand new content the week after. And of course, if it is brand new, we'll get into it. We'll analyze some of the things that happened at the Brazilian Grand Prix right now. Hello and welcome to today's video. Today we are here playing... Why did I do that? Playing F1 2019. We're doing the Brazilian Grand Prix. I'm already 20th. Cool. Trying to qualify in first place here for the Brazilian Grand Prix, racing as Max Verstappen, who won the Brazilian Grand Prix just yesterday. That was very exciting indeed when he won that race. I was obviously very excited about that, being a Red Bull fan myself. So it was great to see the Red Bull drivers up there getting points and wins and things like that. Had two drivers in contention at the end there. Obviously, Albon and Hamilton had the incident there, which we will discuss a little bit later on in the video, but I'm very excited to do this video. First time back recording in a while. A gaming video. It has been a minute, so yeah, that will be interesting to get back in here and do this. For those of you who maybe don't know, Soul, my cat, she died when I was recording a video actually, so I sort of wanted to take a little time from recording content. So that's sort of been what's up with that. I was doing a Minecraft video for what was supposed to be this week. And she came in my room and she died under my bed during the recording of that. So it definitely dampened my mood towards recording content for a while. But, you know, it's something that I've enjoyed doing for years and I really want to get back into it. Because, again, recording videos make me happy and help me sort of go past being very sad about that happening. So, you know, that's why I wanted to make sure I wasn't going to miss recording this video and just, you know, get back into it. Plus, talking about Max Verstappen winning could hopefully make me feel a little better sitting here recording this video. So, let's see what we're doing here. We started in first place. We will have Lewis Hamilton right there, Charles Leclerc, Valtteri Bottas, Albon, Vettel, okay. Carlos Sainz, who got a podium, which was pretty impressive. Yeah. Alright, let's go. So. Oh yeah, I forgot we're doing a formation lap. I forgot that I wanted to do that. A lot of wheel spin there. Not really necessary to do that much wheel spin for a formation lap, but, you know, it's what we're doing here. Occasionally I feel like doing a formation lap, and today I felt like, you know, let's do it. So just go around here, do a lap, form up on the grid, and get ready to go, and then start breaking down some of the things that happened in the race, because it was a very good race. Especially towards the second half after the first safety car came out. Really spiced things up from there. Which, again, very interesting. Spiced up the race and interesting strategy calls, and overall made for a very interesting race to watch, and a lot of stuff going on in it. So I'm ready to break it all down. I've been looking forward to doing this for a while now. Looking forward to making this video. Very, very interesting race indeed. So Let the game here just form everybody up to the grid. I kind of got way ahead of everybody. Which, for real, if you're forming up the grid, not something you want to do as the leader here, but not really a concern here in the video game as much. Open up my drink here and take a sip of it before we get into the race. Leave the lid open so that I can get a sip of it faster when it comes down to that 20 seconds I have in the pits. Alright, here we go. Get ready to go. Let's hold the gas all the way down at this point. I've sort of given up on trying on these starts. Oh god. So Hamilton's going to get by on the inside. We're going to fight back and already damage our front wing, which is not something we want to do. Okay. It has been a minute since I played this game. I've been playing 2016 a little bit, but I have not played 19 in a little bit. Oh god. Oh wow, that was even worse of a bit there. Leclerc trying to get by me, push him out of the grass a little bit. So I get back to where I was at. Very aggressive start. Indeed. 18 laps here in Brazil. One of the shorter races, actually. And one of my favorite tracks to race in this game. One thing I thought was interesting, I was like unique little facts. That's just sort of the race. The broadcast, they always say like some unique facts about the area. And I found it very unique that of all the tracks on the F1 calendar, or all the countries on the F1 calendar, the only one without red in their flag is Brazil. And I found that to be very unique. Very unique, interesting little fact. I love little interesting facts like that, and that's one that I thought was very cool when they said it. So I think they'll actually stay the trend for next year. With the addition of Vietnam, which is basically an all red flag, very similar to China. And the Netherlands, which also has red in the flag. So I will stay on the track without red in the flag. So here you go, lap 2 of the race, and we might as well talk about the actual F1 race that happened. So first of all, it started out with Charles Leclerc at a 10 place grid penalty for taking a new engine. So this saw him drop from qualifying 4th to starting 14th. Also, Carlos Sainz started in 20th because issues with his McLaren in qualifying. So after Max qualified first for the second time in his career, he started out and really dominated early on. And Leclerc sort of charged his way through the field until he got to about, I think, 5th or 6th is where he sort of stalled out and really couldn't go any further. But that was a very unique, I keep saying unique, interesting, whatever. It was just interesting to sort of see how he could go up to the field. And, once you get past all the slower cars, the front runners will really get far away, and it's sort of hard to really catch up from there. So the discussion sort of quickly became like, is this going to be a 2-stop race or a one-stop race? And nobody really was going towards the pits, and it quickly sort of became just a Mercedes-Red Bull race. We really seen Verstappen and Hamilton kind of just pull away early, and it really came down to who was going to do what. And a lot of the thing was, potentially Ferrari trying to, pull the trigger, get Vettel back into it, but they never did. Hamilton came in for a pit. Came in for a pit? Yeah, came in for a pit. I'm going to say that now. Came in to pit, and, this was sort of like a time, see what the strategy is going to be for the race. So that's kind of going to set the tone. So ultimately, it set the tone with a 2-stop race. Just the way that he, by coming in, going to the mediums as early as he did, really showed, okay, this is what we're going to do. Verstappen came in right after. And actually, the Williams of Robert Kubica, I don't know, I always say his name wrong. Either way, he came out and got a penalty for interfering with Max exiting the pits, and Max was able to drive back by Hamilton. So that, happened. And that overall was just, an interesting thing on the track, again with the pit tires, or pit strategy and the tires and stuff like that. Then we seen Vettel, and it was sort of like, okay, he'll probably go for a one-stop strategy, but ultimately later in the race it didn't work out, he had to pit again. Bottas came in and got hard tires, and that was definitely looking like a situation where it would go and be a one-stop thing. And that didn't work out either, and I believe he was behind Charles Leclerc. This is about lap 50 we're getting to now, after, just some tire changes here, and, not much happened. The only real big incident was Ricciardo and Magnussen after the second DRS section, which I believe is turn 4. Ricciardo, he's known for being a little bit of aggressive, harder on the brakes in the turns, to just, go a little bit longer and make a lot of great moves. Didn't ultimately make the best move, and really got onto the curb, locked up the tires, and slid into Magnussen, spun him out. And he got, I believe, 5 seconds for that, and damage to his wing. But that really was the only incident up until, again, around lap 50. So, at that point, was Bottas came in, because the hard tires didn't really work out for him. So, once that happened, he was sort of stuck behind Leclerc, which the cars really can't race that close to each other without, them to start really heating up. And the Mercedes engines were sort of struggling, actually, which is very rare. But they do struggle a little bit with the altitude and the heat. They have had those issues throughout the season. We've seen that in Austria as well. The Mercedes just were not cooling the engines that well. They just couldn't do it. So here in Brazil, with the altitude, they just weren't coping as well, which the Red Bulls are typically really good at. The Red Bulls have always been good at the high altitude. Brazil, Mexico, things like that. So the Mercedes from Bottas, he got a little close to Leclerc, tried to pass him. Overheated his engine, and right around here he started to pull off to the side. And right here on the left side he pulled over and stopped. Right there at that little pavement section. So I figured, okay, he's going to get out of the way. And that will be it. Yellow flags in that area. But that brought out a safety car. So that was very surprising. Now, there's supposed to be some potential penalties for drivers using DRS in the Sector 1 with the yellow flags. I haven't seen anything from that or heard anything yet at the time of this recording, which is about 7:30 here in Eastern Time in the US. I believe is what time it is. Maybe it's 8 o'clock. I don't know. Yeah, 7:30. So, no news on that. Maybe there'll be news by the time the video's up. I don't know. But yeah, apparently some of the drivers used DRS during that. So, we'll see what happens with that. Now, we know Verstappen will not get a penalty for that. He was in first at the time, so no penalty there. But what other drivers did, we'll have to see who used DRS and where on this straight that I was just on. Again, that was a section that's in question. So, I mean, I don't really know. I think that's really when the time changed in the race. Things are sort of going, just driving around. Everybody's kind of just, in a certain spot. You really weren't going to see much happen. But when that incident arose, there was a safety car. Which, again, I was very surprised that they didn't just, get to push the car back. They had to have a full course safety car. Now, that took a lot of laps, very surprising, but a lot of the cars that were a lap down got their laps back, drove around. I think it was most of the cars that weren't the top at that time 5 cars, both Red Bulls, both Mercedes, and Vettel and his Ferrari. I think they were all a lap down. So everybody sort of drove around, got their lap back. And, the restart is pretty good. And actually, under the safety car was when the strategy really impacted the race. It was going to be... Basically, Mercedes was going to do the opposite of whatever Red Bull did. Hamilton was going to do the opposite. Oh, I said that wrong as well when I said both Mercedes. I should have said Hamilton, both Red Bulls, and both Ferraris. I said the other way around. Like Leclerc was the one that crashed out, but it was Bottas that had the engine issue. So, slight mistake there on my part when I said that. So yeah, both Red Bulls, Hamilton, and the Ferraris were the only ones not a lap down. Anyway, so at this point, with Hamilton in second, Verstappen in first, the strategy sort of became do the opposite of each other. So, or, for Mercedes to do the opposite of Red Bull. Verstappen came in, got the soft tires, and came out in second. And on the restart, he was able to get by pretty quickly on Hamilton up this hill into the first turn, sort of checked out from there. But behind, Albon was able to get by in the Red Bull past Vettel, because Vettel was third. So Albon got by him, and I think it was like a lap or two, because DRS had been active, so it was a few laps. And on this straight right here was when the incident between the Ferraris happened. And that's really where we've seen, again, the race change a little bit more. Because at that point, had they just raced it out, it probably would have been Verstappen, Hamilton, and either a Ferrari or Albon. One of them was going to get the third position. Pierre Gasly was, I believe, in sixth, so that was pretty impressive from him and Toro Rosso. But once Vettel had DRS, he was able to try to get back by Leclerc, who passed him, I believe, on the straight before. They touched the front wheel from Leclerc, back wheel from Vettel. And that really set up the whole incident. I was really surprised by how easy Leclerc's front tire sort of broke. The tire sort of went flat and the suspension, or not flat, but got sort of pulled off and the suspension broke. Which we'll get back into in a second. I'm going to have a sip of my drink while we're here in the pits and have my pit stop myself, I guess you could say. Alright, so our pit stop's complete. We have swapped to medium tires ourselves here in this race. As you know, I always do that in the videos. Pit stop arises. Get a quick drink. I don't want to take my hand off the controls here, so we'll take it when we can. So, that is what happened, though. I was just so surprised by how easy the front suspension, tire, whatever you want to call it, issue that Leclerc had went so quickly. And then in this situation, we had Vettel get a puncture in his rear tire, and also something happened to, I believe, Lance Stroll after. He might hit some of the debris from those cars. But it was very, very interesting how that incident sort of arose. Oh, wow, I went too hard into that turn. Oops. But yeah, I was just so surprised to sort of see them come together. A lot of people were saying it was, I seen it on Twitter, and the announcers said it as well. Very similar to Vettel and Weber when they were both driving for Red Bull back in Turkey, I believe 2010 it was. I wasn't watching Formula 1 then, but I went back and watched a lot of old clips, and I actually watched that clip recently. Again, I watched it a couple of weeks ago, but I rewatched it actually last night, I believe it was. So it's very interesting to sort of watch that clip and then a similar situation happen in the race. Vettel and his current teammate, Charles Leclerc. So, safety car for that, and I believe it was like lap 70, the safety car came in out of the 71 laps, or 69. I think it would have been lap 69 that the safety car came in. So, Verstappen really wanted to back everybody up. Hamilton came in for a stop as well, we should point that out. So I believe he was back in fourth at the time then. Yeah, because it was Albon was second behind Verstappen, and then we had Pierre Gasly in third. So it was looking really good for Honda, Red Bull, obviously, with both of their teams up there. and Hamilton in fourth. Verstappen really wanted to back everybody up, make sure he get a good launch. I mean, he didn't go until, like, they were obviously safety cars off the track way here, and I think he went, like, right there. That's when it sort of took off. So, he didn't want to give him much time to try to pass him in this first turn, which, Hamilton obviously got by a Toro Rosso pretty easy. Mercedes is going to go by Toro Rosso quite quickly. I really kind of wanted the car to enter the safety car, or the race to end under safety car, just to sort of see, Verstappen, Albon, and Gasly all get a podium. It would have been really cool to see all three of them up there. But, ultimately what happened a lap later, Hamilton was sort of, going behind Albon, and it's the next turn after this one. Albon really went a little too wide through this section. Right here, he really just goes too wide. He goes like way up here, and, Hamilton comes around, hits his back tire, spins Albon out. He gets like 14th or something. Hamilton gets passed by Pierre Gasly, damage to his front wing, and they actually go side by side about here, and somehow all the way to the end, or it might have been around here, I don't know. They go to the line, and Hamilton cannot get by Pierre Gasly. So it's very interesting to sort of see Mercedes struggling to get by Toro Rosso. It's just a different situation. I'm normally used to seeing a Mercedes not, passing a slow car or slower car than itself. I mean, it struggles maybe past Ferraris and Red Bulls, which are a little bit slower but pretty equal in speed. But to see it, not be able to get by one of these more midfield teams is very surprising, actually, that Hamilton could not get by Pierre Gasly. So on the podium, of course, we had Verstappen winning the race. Very, very excited. I was so excited. If you guys follow me on Twitter, which I recommend you do, I retweeted some of the stuff from both Red Bull and Formula One. Sort of just, excited about Verstappen winning. Gets a pole or wins the race. I'll retweet some of that stuff. But that was very cool. I was so excited to see him get his third win of the year. And then, Pierre Gasly getting second, the best result for Toro Rosso since 2008. That was awesome to see them up there together. Second Toro Rosso driver on the podium. And it was cool to see Pierre Gasly up there after the issues, or not issues, but, the situation that happened in the summer. Getting swapped from the main Red Bull team to the second tier team. You work all 2018, you get put into a Red Bull, moved it from Toro Rosso, and Ricciardo left to go to Renault. And then we see, Albon get moved into the seat because he was just... Gasly was not doing well with the pressure of being in the top team. And to see the way that it worked out for Pierre Gasly to get the podium, it was cool to see him be up there and, almost sort of like redemption for getting removed from the car that would have made a podium easy for him to get a podium like that, and see his excitement to be up there. It was pretty cool. As much as I do believe Alex Albon is still the better choice of driver for Red Bull going forward, Albon will, he's been improving so much. I mean, I think if he didn't get spun by Hamilton, he would have had a podium today as well. So, if you look at it like that, it was an incident he had nothing to do with causing himself, really. I mean, he did go a little wide, but he didn't, crash out in a stupid incident. It was just he went a little wide, Hamilton spun him out. So that happened, and again, it's impressive for Albon to be moving up like he has been in the field. I'm definitely a fan of Albon as well. I think that he's got a good shot to get some podiums and potentially fight for wins in 2020. I'm really happy that Red Bull confirmed him the other week. I believe it was a couple days ago, maybe last Monday or Tuesday, they confirmed him. And confirmed the same driver on it for Toro Rosso, so... Yeah, I think that Albon will do better. He'll get some podiums. I mean, you got to think that it's impressive since Belgium that's his first, finish not in the top 6, considering how much he was struggling. Not struggling, but, I don't know why I said how much he was struggling. How much the team was sort of, struggling with the spots that he was in. He sort of worked his way through the field, new engine parts and stuff like that, and, seeing him just, be able to sort of perform in a way that the team expected you to perform in a Red Bull. It was good. It's good to see him up there. So, ultimately what happened was they reviewed the incident with Hamilton and Albon, gave Hamilton a 5-second penalty, dropping him from 3rd down to, I believe, 7th. So that moved up Carlos Sainz into 3rd, getting his first podium ever. It's unfortunate for him not to be able to celebrate on the podium with Verstappen and Gasly and I forgot what her position is at Red Bull, but the person up there to collect the trophy for Red Bull for the constructors to celebrate with those 3. I'm sure it would have been cool for him to celebrate with all 3 of them, but he went up there with his team after on Instagram. He was up there celebrating with the whole McLaren team, their first podium since I forgot what it said, 2015, 2014, something like that. Maybe it's more recent than that, I don't know. But their first podium in a while for McLaren. It's cool to see other drivers out there getting podiums and things like that. So he got to celebrate up there with his whole team, which was pretty cool as well. So we'll see if any other penalties come out of the whole DRS usage incident, but definitely a good race. I think most of the races in France have been really, really well. Really, really good. France is terrible, but since then it picked up and got really good. Brazil's obviously the best race since Germany. Germany was just an insane race. Brazil's got to be up there, probably the second best race of the season. Germany, Brazil. And personally, I loved Austria as well, which is the first time I got to see Max Verstappen win, see Red Bull win. The first year of me watching Formula 1. To see the first time that seeing a team win. And driver, just to see that. Again, the first time, that's why Austria is sort of special to me, that win from this season, but Germany and Brazil, from the other standpoints, were really, really exciting. It is interesting that those are all 3 wins that Verstappen has, which are the 3 best races, in my opinion, this season. But, oh God, what has happened? What just... either way, so we'll see what happens with that. Now we can look at this race for the last lap. I hope you guys sort of liked the analysis of that sort of breakdown and talk about it. I don't really know what happened here. I go into the turn and... Do I clip something? I mean, I've been going out here the entire race. Like, this is the thing. I've, been paying attention to the race. Oh, I didn't really know that this track was surrounded by so many buildings. But seeing them all in the background now, it's really cool. Reminds me of some of the Top Gear videos when they went to South America. Or Top Gear episodes. And Grand Tour, both of them when they went to South America. Those are some of the cool ones to watch. So, I went here. I did normal driving. I don't really know. I went too far out, hit the bump too hard. But I came across, clipped the grass, and really started to lose control. I was trying to save it, just I didn't really want to use a replay because I figured, we're so far ahead we can afford to damage part of the front wing or something. But, breaking out the tire the way we did, we're going to have to do a replay of it here. I was close to saving it. You seen here, almost had it, but I spent too long on the curb here and ultimately clipped the front wheel. Or I clipped the front wing into the wall, and that's what it jolted off forward. So, we'll go back and do a turn here. So I do want to hear your opinions on the 2019 Brazilian Grand Prix. comment them down below what you thought about this year's race in Brazil. There's one of these videos this season. We've done this series basically doing a upload of the previous week's race, or the previous Sunday's race on Monday, for every single race since Monaco, except for Singapore, for this F1 season. So since Monaco, we've been doing this. We did skip Singapore. I don't really know why. Oh, that was theme week month. And then there was some other one we didn't upload on a Monday, but we've done a lot of them. And again, I've hoped you have enjoyed this series throughout the season. One more, Abu Dhabi. The race is on December 1st. We'll be back with these videos on December 2nd, where we take on the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, Yas Marina circuit, for the final one. But here, a win in Brazil. I kind of dominated. One of my best tracks to race. I love racing here in Brazil. I don't really know. I was really surprised to actually be that far ahead. With the amount of sort of not tire, but the difficulty being at 50, which is a lot higher than we used to race at. We raced at 20 at the beginning of the series. So to be at a 50% difficulty, or 50 difficulty, I don't know the percentages, but either way, super excited to be up here, getting this win with Red Bull, with Max Verstappen, recreating at least the first place finish for the actual race. I was so glad to see him win this week on Sunday. And of course, we'll be back, like I said, December 2nd, the final one of these videos of the year. And we'll see you guys in the next one.